How long have you been working here?
Well, 37 years.
That is remarkable. Why have you stayed for such a long time?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot in every bite. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
It's a cookie crumb crust, a vanilla amaretto flavor ice cream topped with whipped cream and almonds.
I'm so happy. So if a person does want to get into the restaurant business, what are a few points that you would recommend?
The first is absolutely.
If you could give yourself some advice back on that day, you're like, man, I think we might want to go talk to Jacqueline and Jimmy about buying their restaurant. What advice would you give yourself going into that meeting?
I would just say
Jacqueline's Cafe is a legendary lunch spot in Shreveport, Louisiana. But a few years ago, they were about to close their doors forever until two young entrepreneurs, Grant Knuckles and Andrew Crawford, decided they were going to buy this restaurant. Now, why did they decide to buy it? And how do they run a successful restaurant? Well, we'll find out on today's episode. All right, here we are with Grant Knuckles, one of the two young entrepreneurs I talked about. Grant, man, thanks for letting us come check out.
Appreciate it. Glad you're here.
Yeah, man. So tell me where we are.
So we're at 1324 Louisiana Avenue. This is one of my favorite streets in Shreveport, old historic district. Streetcar actually used to run down the front. This building's been here, we think, around 100 years. It had many different uses throughout its life, but for the last 40, it's been Jacqueline's Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my partner and I took over here a few years ago from the founders, from the previous owners who were retiring, and we're having a good time here in this old building.
It's right by downtown, so
Right.
I mean, it's an old neighborhood, it's an old building, but when I come in here at lunch, it's usually a lot of guys in suits.
That's right. You get a mix. It's always been a place where the politicians are in a corner making a deal, or two business people are maybe working on something, but then also you have the retired couple that's wanting to get a lunch together, or a nurse down the street who's meeting some coworkers for a quick bite.
Great location across.
It really
so many
is. I mean, it's close to I-20. In 40 years, Shreveport's changed a lot, but at lunch, it's remained really kind of the same, right? So you've still got the interstate, you still got that downtown core, and it's Shreveport, so it's easy to get to from anywhere.
So the history of Jacqueline's is very interesting because I grew up restaurant business. My dad was like, answers yes, what's the question? You know, do whatever. But Jacqueline's kind of had some rules. They have some interesting traditions.
That's right.
So show us how this works.
Jimmy, one of the previous owners, he was a real stickler. Everybody's treated the same here. That means no VIPs, no special favors, no reservations. You can't come here and sit down early and wait on your friend to get here. So we've got seats for you to wait in, but because it's a small restaurant and thankfully typically pretty busy at lunch, when your whole party's here, everybody gets in line and then they order at the counter, and then you can find a table to be seated.
And it can be frustrating to people to have to wait in line, but you're going to wait somewhere.
That's right.
So if you wait in line, that actually controls the flow of orders to the kitchen, which allows them to get the food out quickly. So
absolutely,
it may take a minute in line, but when you sit down, the food's going to come out a lot faster than if we had 50 orders going in the kitchen at the same time.
That's exactly right. I'd rather the customer wait here, talk with their friends, see somebody they know. Once they sit down, no matter what they order, it's going to be out just in a few minutes. These chalkboards have been here for 40 years. That is and Jimmy passed away a few years ago, but that is his handwriting. So I've changed the prices, as you know, especially the last year or two. Inflation has been a bear. The prices have gone up slightly. So that's my handwriting on the right, but that's Jimmy's original handwriting on the left, and that won't change.
Okay, so what are some things you did to increase profits, like right off the bat?
Right, so first thing we did, new tablecloths, we repainted the inside of the restaurant, the ceiling, got some new light fixtures, added this point of sale system, got on delivery, added a website. We also turned that Coke machine around.
How does turning a Coke machine around change anything? Why did you turn the Coke machine around?
There was a lady that worked here for a while that was planning on retiring about the time we took over. Her responsibility was primarily to scoop drinks of ice and fill your Coke and then hand it to you. So we decided, with her leaving, our cashier was really good. She would scoop the ice, give it to the customer. We turn the machine around, the customer fills their drink, and then Tina or April, one of our waitresses, will still go to the table for refills. But instead of replacing that position, we just turn the machine around.
So you save that labor. So
that's right.
Real important not to always just do things the way we've always done them. A lot of people would have said, "Oh, we got to get a new person to move the drink."
Yeah, you can use.
What made you think of that? Let's just turn it around.
I guess that was one thing that a fresh set of eyes said, what if we do it this way? Again, let's not mess it up. We're not getting rid of our waitress staff. They can still get their refills for them, but that initial transaction there's really no effect on the customer.
Smart. I like it. Fresh eyes. So definitely, I want to talk about the numbers and how you run a business and how you're successful. But the key to any restaurant is the food.
Got to see the kitchen.
So show me the kitchen and how that works.
That's not just like the dining room. It's not big, but it's really incredible how much that you can get done in a kitchen that's small but laid out right. And over those years, each piece of equipment got in just the right place.
Right.
So this is Mitch, GM, Jacqueline's actual nephew.
Mitch Boudreaux, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the famous Mitch. So what are you doing right now, Mitch?
I'm just rolling out pie dough.
Rolling out some pie dough. So before we open in the morning, Paul, that kitchen's got to have space to prep, and so bigger kitchens have dedicated prep areas. We really don't. So before we're open, even though we're only open 15 hours a week, we're spending at least that much time a week just on prepping. And so if he's got to make pie dough, he's doing it where in an hour or so the orders are going to be placed for pickup. So that's kind of the prep. But back here we've got the sandwich.
So this is fresh made. You guys make this in-house dough. You're not buying crust. You're making it from scratch.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah. Every sandwich at Jacqueline's comes across this cooler right here. And so, again, a tight area, but he's got everything he needs. So you're toasting the bread, made to order. And so our turkey and ham sandwiches, shrimp salad and chicken salad are super popular.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do here, you can have on a salad or a sandwich. But all of it's built right here.
So that gives you a variety. You use the same protein, the same base, but you can put it on a sandwich, put it on a salad.
Do a half size, full size. So if somebody's worried about portion or price, we've got something for them. And to your point, yes. So we make everything here from scratch, but like the chicken salad and shrimp salad, you can make in batches. Same with like your gumbo, your clam chowder. So in the morning you can prep up, but then except for that grill, like a ham sandwich is going to be made to order. But other than that, everything else is, just being simple. So that, again, that gets you your speed that we're looking for at lunch.
Holy smokes, I thought a Sonic was small, man.
Yeah.
This is remarkable.
So it continues, as you can see, as you walk through the building, it gets tighter and tighter. So our kitchen again, so the grill is...
Oh, this smells amazing already.
The grill is multi-purpose, and Tina can show you what she's working on, but again, prep. So we're not open yet, so this is where we're doing our prep. Another thing, we were talking earlier about, we kind of a diverse menu of some Louisiana staples and some American staples, but I'll tell you, our spaghetti is incredible. Tina makes it. She's been making it every day. A lot of the consistency that we have here is because we've had the same employee making the same item on the same equipment for literally decades. Right? And so that's the gumbo, the shrimp salad, certainly her famous meat sauce is a prime example of that.
Man, and just her being able to use the same equipment to keep it so maintained. I wouldn't look at this grill and think this was 30-year-old grill.
Right.
That's remarkable. So this is all done because of this famous person, Tina, I keep hearing about.
That's right. Tina Tasby, the longtime employee. She wears many, many hats. The customers know her in the dining room, when we're open. She's been serving all of our great customers for all these years, but she's equally important because of what gets made back here. A lot of it is her making it.
So Tina, this is Tina Tasby?
Yes, sir.
So nice to meet you.
So nice.
I've eaten some of your wonderful dishes in the past.
Okay.
So you were back here cooking, prepping, and then you're also serving in the afternoon.
Yeah, serving.
Fantastic. So how long have you been working here?
Going on 37 years.
So, that is remarkable. Why have you stayed for such a long time?
I don't know. I asked myself that. But it started out hard time. And I don't know what the years went. I just enjoyed it and I stayed on.
Okay. So when these young bucks came along a few years ago and took over, what was that transition like? Were you fearful when that happened? Were you?
Oh yeah, loved it. I love them.
Oh, you loved them?
Yeah,
even this guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we tried. We asked a lot of questions. The good thing about Tina is that she's going to tell you an honest answer, and so we asked a lot of questions. And if something was working, we tried not to mess with it. And if she had an idea of something that needed to be improved, we tried to improve it.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's so important. The food and the consistency is so important, but that service out front is consistent too. So she's been serving like multiple generations now of people, and so I think you probably call some of these customers family. I know they call you family. So that's an awesome thing at this place that is super hard to duplicate.
Sure is.
So what do they do to keep you around? You just ignore them?
well, they don't come in much.
That's a secret.
Yeah.
Whoa, now this is Freddie. Freddie, you are the one that Tina was telling me about that caught on quick.
Oh, yeah.
And you got this grill mastered.
I wrote it down, man. Went home, studied it. About a week I was in there.
Come
I was
on.
ready.
So what are you making for me now?
Make this crab sandwich over here with Indiana bread, Swiss cheese, and a special Jacqueline season. Can't tell y'all what that is.
So this is a fresh crab sandwich?
Fresh crab.
So has anyone ever tell you sound just a little bit like Coach Ogeron?
No.
No?
No.
Your job lasts a little longer than his though, so it's all right. All right, man. This is pretty exciting. So, who would think in North Louisiana, Shreveport, you're going to get fresh Gulf jumbo lump crab meat on a sandwich?
And it's decadent. I thought decadent was a word used for dessert, right? I never knew a sandwich, especially like a seafood sandwich, could be decadent. But I think you've seen it made, and once you eat it, it's one of the pricier things on the menu. But it's a special treat. A lot of customers will treat themselves, and or get a half, get a whole, get it on a salad, however you want it. But this is my favorite way. That bacon, that melted cheese.
That is so good.
Good crunch on the bacon and the bread.
I've never had a crab sandwich like this because usually the crab is mixed into a salad and usually it's not real crab.
Right, yeah.
So to have real fresh crab meat, and he just grilled that on the grill, throw a little spice on it. The bacon adds that crunch that you would normally get from celery or something.
Yep.
The bacon was a surprise.
Yeah.
And then the Swiss cheese just makes it the perfect grilled cheese sandwich. So,
That's right. We garnish every sandwich with this plate, the ruffled potato chips, and of course lettuce, tomato.
Keep talking.
Lettuce, tomato, and pickle. But most customers are going to do exactly what you and I are doing. They're not going to worry about the veggies on this sandwich. They're going in for the main. Keep the main thing. Much of our menu dates back all the way to 87, to the beginning. When the original owners opened here, they opened as you typically would in a restaurant. You want to maximize your hours to maximize profit, right? So they were open nights and weekends. I think they quickly saw two things. One, the bulk of their sales were at lunch. I think what we've talked about, just being this great location, the menu lent itself to being lunch. And then when you're open nights and weekends, you're just going to get tired. Everybody gets tired. And so certainly the owners, because they don't have a choice, but in a small operation like this, you're probably not going to have be a new restaurateur and have a manager and you go home. So they were working a lot, and they said, we're going to focus on lunch. That's going to give us time to relax and recharge, and then just keep the main thing.
When you think about a restaurant, you think, how am I going to maximize the facility?
Yep.
I've got this big building, I'm paying this rent on it.
Yep.
Well, one, you've got a smaller building.
Yes.
So there's a nice efficiency to that small kitchen.
That's right.
When you want to open a big restaurant, you're like, I want a big, gorgeous kitchen. Well, all of a sudden people have to walk so far. It takes 3 people to do what one person can do in there.
Absolutely.
So there's efficiency. But talk about the hours, because a lot of people would say you're crazy not to at least do breakfast or dinner. So just a little bit more about the philosophy.
It's a natural tendency. When Andrew, my partner, and I got in here after a few months, we finally get our feet under us, you start to have those thoughts. What if, there's no breakfast spots around here. A friend of ours actually even opened a breakfast spot after we started her. What about nighttime? What about weekends? And we talked to the staff and talked to Jackie, the previous owner, and we came to the same conclusion. It's a great, profitable business. The staff has been here a long time. Well, one of the reasons is because they're not just being worked into the ground. You get a customer, that religious customer, your lunch only, so they're going to come to you. You're going to be top of mind for lunch. They can't get you at night or on the weekends. And what it's a smaller, older restaurant, so the overhead's low, and so you can be profitable just being open 15 hours a week.
Oh my, Miss Tina.
Yeah, this is the seafood gumbo.
Seafood gumbo.
Serve it only on Friday.
Okay, so it's extra special. So do you get extra busy on Friday because people coming for the gumbo?
They come especially for that gumbo on Friday. Yeah, they sure do.
Well, thank you very much. Look forward to digging in.
Enjoy.
That's another interesting, Paul, as I'm thinking about the menu. We've got that core menu, and then they were really smart when they built the menu to kind of draw people back. There's a few things that we do what I'll call semi-regularly. So there's like 5 or 6 menu items: tuna salad, shrimp salad sandwich, the Reubens we were talking to Freddie about earlier, that are offered one week, and then the next week it's something else. So if you like the Reuben, it's maybe like every 5th or 6th week of the year.
Okay.
Gumbo only on Fridays. And so that there's some semi-regular specials that some customers like certain ones, and so they kind of chase those, and it gives the customer another reason to come back.
Kind of like the McRib, but 1,000 times
That's
better.
right, yeah. So in a small space, you can't have another.
Yeah, it just what people look forward to. So you're going to have to taste this with me. All right, so tell me about this gumbo, this Friday only gumbo.
Absolutely. So, we always try to be unique. First thing's Friday only. And then second thing, it's not your traditional Louisiana gumbo, it's shrimp and crab. So again, that crab and shrimp are two of the really popular seafood items that kind of make their way throughout our menu.
That's the thing. It's a very seafoody menu. North Louisiana, where we are, you would expect sausage gumbo, chicken gumbo. But you put the full seafood, crab and shrimp. This is very much what I would expect in South Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, even Lafayette.
Yeah, nice dark roux.
Yeah, very dark roux. So let's take a little taste here.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to get, there's a lot of good shrimp.
Oh, you got some good ones.
Yeah, heck yeah. There's a lot in every bite. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
It's so good.
Absolutely.
Like Mitch said, all those flavors are permeated.
They've melded together. That's what you want.
Because I mostly taste the shrimp. You got just that little bit of brine from that shrimp.
Yeah.
And then that roux. It's really dark. It's really flavorful.
Yeah.
Not too spicy, not spicy at all. It's mild, but it's just got a nice seafood flavor, man.
Right. Yeah, and that's the deal. You want to try to get enough spice to please the average customer. You take the rest. But got the Tabasco and the Louisiana hot sauce on every table for that customer that wants to kick it up a little bit. Man,
that crab is so good. It's like I didn't get enough crab on my 7-pound sandwich.
There you go. A little bit more. Never have too much.
Dude, I'm coming back next Friday. You've got all this education, all these resources. Why did you decide to get into the restaurant business?
My dad is not in the restaurant business, but he's in the car wash business with his hospitality, shaking hands, being out with people. Growing up, going to the car wash, I would see him interact with customers and even see him outside of his business on the weekends, whatever. And I really liked that. And I saw a certain brand on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives that was in Dallas. I went to check it out and said, man, it'd be fun to have a hamburger joint. Yeah. And I don't know. And I was ignorant enough, not knowing all the hard. I knew restaurant business was hard, but you don't really know until you're in it. Yeah. But anyway, I went over there and trained and liked it and said, let's do it. So I enjoyed it.
So it's hard, but I guess part of the hardness is what makes it so attractive. I mean, it's like you have to earn your
It is a challenge.
Stripes.
But if you love, and I love, food, and there's many things that you can bring into a restaurant like live music and craft beer and working with friends, partnering, being creative, all that a restaurant allows you to do. I think that attracted me too.
So when you guys bought this, you two smart guys, I haven't even talked about Andrew. I know he's a real guy though. I met him at a dinner one time.
He's real.
I've seen him in the paper.
Yeah.
So when you guys bought this place, what were the results? Were you able to increase sales? Were you able to increase profits?
We were. So when we were looking at buying it, we got the previous owner's numbers and came up with 15 or 20 ideas, some small, some bigger, of what we could do to increase sales or lower expenses. And so once we got the business, we kind of tackled those a little bit at a time. And the first thing was just, we had a restaurant business, you call it the honeymoon. Typically a honeymoon is when you open a new business, right? Big splash. But we got a similar effect, even being 40 years old, because new owners get in the newspaper. And so we've got a lot of influx of our generation in here.
It was a story of you guys were kind of saving this restaurant.
Saving the place, yeah.
So they were planning on not selling it?
That's right. They just wanted to retire. They'd been here 40 years. They wanted to retire. Again, husband and wife wanted to kind of ride off into the sunset. They were more concerned about leaving on a high note than they were making a dollar and risking a new owner coming in and ruin their legacy. And,
I always recommend to everybody, build it to sell it on day one. Because you put so much into it and you gain this equity, especially if you gain a successful business.
That's right.
Can't imagine just walking away from it without the opportunity to sell it, you know. But for them also, I know they were concerned about these employees that have been here forever.
Sure.
So how did you convince them to sell it?
So Andrew and I, each independent of each other, started to hear, me from my father-in-law, him from his dad, both longtime customers, hey, they're thinking about closing down Jacqueline's. You should try to save it. And so we reached out through them and got to meet Jimmy and Jackie. Andrew and I decided that we were doing this separately, and once, like on a Monday, and by Wednesday, we said, we had each told each other what we were thinking. We said, let's do it together. So we had a few initial conversations with Jimmy and Jackie, and I think once they could trust us, our experience and our heartstrings with this restaurant through our families, they said, okay, let's see if we can make a deal. And then we began the process of learning the business. And but a lot of it, an old restaurant, mom and pop, there weren't a lot of things written down, right? So that became an issue. I wanted to get the recipes from her written down. It was super important. And we made some procedures, and then we made some changes on our own, like POS system, a website, things like that.
So they were very much running it mom and pop style.
Yes.
So you guys came in. Did you do some? Well, first thing you said, we had to get a POS system. How were they taking the order?
That's right.
Point of sale system to a cash register, in other words. So how were they taking the orders before that?
It was old-timey cash register, and I mean, Jimmy was so brilliant with math, he didn't even have to ring in. He could just add it all up in his head. And so that's good for him, but for us, another reason Andrew and I are both number guys.
That's crazy. I would definitely, you don't want me running a register trying to think, carry the one.
And us being, having other businesses, we needed an ability to be able to remotely pull sales, look at your P-mix, your product mix, what's selling, what's not, trying to learn that process. And so adding that.
And track your inventory and track your sales and track how much money is going into that register.
Right. Also, we added a payroll system through there so the employees can come in and clock in and all that kind of stuff. So the
expense of buying a POS system, valuable.
Yes.
So you bought a POS system. What did you end up buying?
Square, which is really built for a smaller size operation. We've got a few dozen menu items, not thousands of SKUs.
Right.
And so it really worked out well for that. Andrew's got a web design company. He spun up a website. It integrates in with Square, so I can update prices from anywhere in the world.
You added a website. They didn't have a web presence at all.
Nope.
They didn't have a website.
No delivery. We added delivery services.
Really?
Which is not as popular.
Do you deliver to Regent's Tower?
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely. Let's go. So, I mean, it's not as popular as lunch versus dinner, but still, that's a great example, delivering to offices. So these incremental sales, in addition to that honeymoon we talked about.
So the honeymoon came from, how did everybody find out that you were doing this?
So basically, I got on our Facebook, my personal Facebook, and the restaurants, and kind of had a big splash. I also sent out a press release, and I figured it would get us traction, but I didn't realize that just as my heartstrings were in it, the communities were too, and saving the restaurant became a common theme, and media just ran with it.
So public relations, this is a good story. The local television stations, I'm sure, came and did a story. Do you have Rick Rowe out here?
Yeah, I've done that 3:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh. But that's great. That's a great utilization of just the resources of the community, because people want to get involved, and newspapers and New stations are looking for that. But what are you doing now to market? Are you guys utilizing social media? Are you
So we've
advertising on
continued to
television?
use social media. We've done, Jacqueline's never really advertised. They didn't have to, but after 40 years, your customer base, it starts to age out. And so, literally. And so we've done, mailers, and we actually did a sprinkling of billboards on our 40th anniversary.
Okay.
And just there's a lot of media you can do that doesn't cost that much. This is a smaller size business, so you do have to be careful about spending tens of thousands of dollars on traditional media. But I haven't really found that necessary. I think when you start from zero advertising, even if you start to do a little bit, people notice.
So you increase sales and you also freshened up the building a little bit.
We did. That was needed. We call it deferred maintenance in the business, and this is a 100-year-old building, so you're going to inherit a lot of deferred maintenance.
Right. Deferred maintenance means we need to fix that. We'll fix it later.
Yeah. And luckily, with an increase in sales, you got more free cash flow to do that. So we painted the inside and out. Got new brighter.
It was dark. It was real dark in here.
It was
wasn't
dark. The green theme. We had green tablecloths, and it needed a new coat of paint.
Okay.
And so that brightened it up. Customers loved that.
What? We're still coming?
Still coming.
So this is, what is this, Tina?
New England clam chowder.
New England clam chowder.
Thank you.
Right here in New England in Old Shreveport. Dude. All right, this is exciting. Yeah, I mean, that just aroma. I mean, it reminds me of Boston.
It does. It's got Delaware clams in it, and again, a traditional recipe going back many decades. And you would not think in North Louisiana you would find New England style anything, but try it, see what you think.
This is one of my favorite things too. I really love clam chowder. All right, just like Mama taught me. Okay. Amazing. I'm going to use some fancy chefy words. Wow. I mean, there's such a rich flavor. It's so creamy. The clams, really fresh clams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a can of clams.
Yeah.
There's a fresh flavor. The potatoes, I think I got some celery going on in there. But it's just a really rich flavor in the cream.
It really is. And I like to do my list.
Oh, heck yeah. Here, come on. I wish if I had a little crab left, that would go good. Dude, this is a delightful meal.
I appreciate you coming. It's a fun, special place, fun, special menu.
Now I see why you bought it. So you had grown up eating here?
I had, yeah. I had, and kind of take it for granted. This is every city has a mix of chains and super big restaurants, but then the small local mom and pops. And I've still got many friends that I've introduced this place to that maybe they didn't grow up eating here. And so it's just reminded me that the local small mom and pop is the fabric of any city's restaurant community, and it's cool to be able to own one. And I just feel like we're a custodian of the legacy. I didn't create it. I'm just trying not to mess it up. Hopefully we'll be here doing it another 40 years,
So if somebody else said, man, I always wanted a restaurant, that just seems so romantic. And it is. I mean, as much as we complain about how hard it is and how expensive it is, the profit margins aren't that great.
Yeah.
But it is romantic, and it is something that you can be so proud of. So if a person does want to get into the restaurant business, what are a few points that you would recommend?
The first is absolutely get your hands dirty in somebody else's restaurant. Learn the whole thing. If you're a numbers person, the P&L and all that's probably going to come easy as it did to me. But I had no clue about the physical food part of it. So focus on that.
You got to know both too.
If
a person does know the physical part, you really need to know the numbers.
Know the numbers as well, and know. The P&L is the profit and loss statement is what we live by, and so get really familiar with it. If it's the restaurant you're buying, if it's a chain, a similar one, whatever it is, try to really focus on that. I'm a people person. I think you are too. That may be why I, was so attracted to it. If you're not a people person, you're either going to have to become one, or maybe find a partner, or
find a people partner,
general manager, or a partner that's because it is a customer service business, absolutely. And just dive in and get your hands dirty.
And finally,
Dessert, and this is our almond jack, our signature pie.
Almond Jack's signature.
It's a cookie crumb crust, a vanilla amaretto flavor ice cream topped with whipped cream and almonds.
I'm so happy.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tina. You're my new best friend.
That's one of Jackie's creations. She came up with that on her own, and it is delicious. That's our you had the signature crab sandwich. This is our signature dessert.
It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So what is that? Is that cream cheese? Is it?
That's just ice cream and whipped cream, a cookie crust, and
that ice cream is so powerful. It's almost like amaretto.
yeah, it is. It's got amaretto in it.
I mean, it's subtle. It's not overpowering flavor,
Right.
but it is that almond just comes
I
through
love how
so
those
much.
flavors they pair. I don't know how she came up with that pairing, but
And
God,
those-
it really works.
Those toasted almonds, they've got that crunch, and the whole pie is ice cream.
That's
It's
it.
an ice cream pie.
It's a traditional frozen ice cream pie, just
Oh.
with interesting ingredients.
I'm so happy.
Speaking to you.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I know about that. Come get this pie. You hear me? Come get this pie. This is unbelievable. This is my thing. And if you got whipped cream on top.
Yeah.
That's not cool. Whipped.
No, that's
That is
actual whip.
Whipped
Yes.
cream. You guys back there whip this up.
Dollop. You know,
It's dollop. That is a dollop
of whipped cream.
Of true dairy fresh hand whipped whipped cream.
Yep.
That is unbelievable. I never dreamed. So if you could give yourself some advice back in that day, you're like, man, I think we might want to go talk to Jacqueline and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jacqueline and Jimmy about buying their restaurant. What advice would you give yourself going into that meeting?
I would just say do it because honestly, I didn't know them personally.
Mm-hmm.
I had never run a mom and pop before. I almost didn't do it, but I was encouraged myself just to go do it, you know, because I think oftentimes people do have great ideas or great expectations, and it'd be a terrible thing if you didn't do something and maybe somebody else got it, or worst case scenario, this place would have just closed probably, and that'd have been devastating. So I would just encourage people, you know, go in eyes wide open, but do go in. If you think you want to do it, go do it.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Dude, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Appreciate your
Paul.
time. Appreciate
Thanks,
this
brother.
this tour of the menu.
Yeah, food tour.
Wow. And I'll be back next Friday for some more gumbo.
See ya.